Namaste. Please join me in approximately the next 15 minutes practicing some floor poses. Starting though in Tadasana, mountain pose. Draw in a breath and raise your arms up overhead. Deep breath in, join your palms, and exhale, bring your hands to the heart. And again, reach up, reaching for the sun, feeling the sun, and exhale, hands to the heart. Now on this next breath, reach up, and on your exhale, fold forward, all the way into standing forward fold, Uttanasana. Take another breath here as you lengthen and fold. Stay for an additional breath, allowing the legs to stretch and warm up and lengthen. And moving now into downward facing dog, sliding your hands forward, setting your hands, your feet, tucking the toes, stretching between the hands and the hips, lifting the hips up and back. Lengthen through the legs. Setting your head directly between the arms, setting the shoulder sockets down on top of the arm bones. Raising your right leg up behind, draw in a breath, bending the right knee, bring the right knee forward next to the right hand for pigeon pose. Sliding your left leg back, easing down onto the forearms. Staying here for a couple, 3 breaths, just opening up that right hip. Feel free to rock a bit side to side. Take some deep breaths. Now moving into the second phase of pigeon pose, back bend phase, setting your hands and gently pushing into the floor, lifting the chest, lengthening the spine. The back leg is long, aligned directly behind your hip. You can keep the foot flat or bend or flex the toes, tucking the toes, either way. Bringing the hands forward for a more moderate back bend, sliding the hands back for a little deeper back bend. Keep the elbows down, shoulders down. Deep breath in and out. Transitioning now to the second side. Sliding the hands forward a bit, tucking the back toes, pressing into the hands, moving back into downward facing dog. Lengthening, stretching, aligning. One more breath here. And now lift the left leg up, bend the left knee, bring the left knee right next to the left hand. Slide the right leg back a bit, easing down now onto your forearms. And pause here for a couple breaths, just letting the stretch, the opening happen in your left hip. Enjoy this stretch for as long as you like. And when you're ready to transition to the second phase of pigeon pose, the back bend phase, set your hands on the floor, align your back leg directly behind, toes point directly back, or you can tuck the toes. Shoulders roll back and down, and the chest lifts. And some deep breaths here. Relaxing into the stretch in your left hip and opening up the front of your body with the back bend. Transitioning now back to downward facing dog. Stretching back. And then making your way to a seated pose. Sliding the legs forward out in front. Preparing for a spinal twist. Bending your right knee next. Now, in the seated poses, if you'd like to boost your hips a little, you can take a moment and slide a blanket or a cushion under your hips, helping you to then level the pelvis. Yeah. Now, bending the right knee, the foot comes across the left leg, and sitting up tall. Release your right arm and bring it behind you, bringing your body into a little bit of a twist already. Keep the head aligned square to the shoulders, resisting that urge to turn your head first, but rather in the spinal twist, lengthening with each inhale and letting the twist originate from the base of the spine. Making your way up, the belly, the ribs, the shoulders. And then finally, leading with your chin, turning the head slightly. Pause here and scan the body, release any unnecessary tension. And stay for another breath. When you're ready to exit, just let the right arm lift and guide you back around to center. Little counter twist. And release the right leg and prepare for the spinal twist on the other side. Left knee bends and sitting up tall, the foot rests outside the right leg. Right leg is not tense, but it does have a little energy in it, just to keep your leg grounded, helping to anchor your spine so that then you can lift up and rotate it. Release the left arm and bring it behind. And start with a breath in as you lift up. The belly turns. Exhaling. And the ribs. Exhale. And working your way up the spine. Till finally, the head turns, leading with your chin. Become aware of the back of your head and feel the back of your head in the same plane as your back body. Lifting up, take another breath here. To release the pose, just let the left arm lift up and guide your spine back around to center. A gentle counter twist. Release the legs. Moving into a seated forward fold. If you have a tie, it might be useful. You can grab it. Start by bending your right knee again And many options here. Number one, if you have a hip injury, you might just let your legs stay long. You can also set a block or a cushion underneath that right knee. The sole of the right foot rests toward the inside of the left thigh. If this is too much of a stretch on the right hip, another alternative is to bring the ankle across. It'll decrease the stretch in the right hip, probably increase the stretch in the left leg. And you can bring the knee all the way across, stacking the knees. And just experiment. The tie might come in handy. You can loop the tie or bring the tie around the left foot, and just using it to help guide your torso forward. In the first few breaths, as you explore the forward bend, try and keep your spine in neutral, as opposed to bending at the middle back. Okay, so just at first, broaden the shoulders. Feel the muscles in your back body, keeping the shoulder blades drawing together. And just explore the forward bend. Once you've settled in for a few breaths, then you might allow a little more passive stretch. So I'm going to let go of the muscles in my spine and just drop my torso forward. You can stay here for several breaths, just as long as you like, enjoying the stretch. When you're ready to transition, just set your hands on the floor and walk your spine back up to vertical. Release the right leg and bend the left knee, placing the foot in one position or another. And again, the option to keep both legs long is always there. Sitting up tall, using a tie if you like. Again, those first few breaths, make the pose quite willful. Okay, you're not just folding in to the pose at first. You're deliberately lengthening the spine, keeping the spine long, and using your arms to draw your torso forward. Not forcing, not going beyond what's comfortable. And just back and forth. Inhale and just back off, and then exhale. Find that edge again. And after a few breaths this way, then transition into more of a passive stretch. See, where you just let the muscles in the back relax a bit. You may even release the tie. And it becomes a little more of a low back stretch now, besides a hip stretch and back of the right leg stretch. So again, working within your comfort zone, but definitely exploring that edge, which is different for each of us. Keeping the breath moving, that'll help keep your attention and also alert you if you are trying to force something. Our breath, we tend to hold our breath when we're forcing. And stay again for as long as you like. And when you're ready to exit, you walk your way back up. Release the leg. Set the tie aside and then prepare for Shavasana from there. Okay. Taking a moment to do any other stretch or movement before you settle into a relaxing pose. Scanning your body, seeing where you can settle in a little further. And stay for as long as you like. Namaste.